Welcome to the Sedro Woolley Noon Rotary Club meeting, the greatest and best Rotary Club in the Miss Julia.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, would
Yep,
you join
thanks,
me, bow your hearts and your heads for one moment, please, as we pray. So, Father, we thank you for today, and we thank you for Phil and the time that he has given us this year as president. And we ask that you will lay your blessings upon Christine as she gets ready to take the helm. We ask that you will provide for our club guidance and kindness, and that we'll be able to give back to the community in a way that's powerful and meaningful this year and in the coming years. We ask that you will be with all of us in this town. Protection we ask for, and joy as we move into the 4th of July. We're anticipating huge crowds for the parade. So we just ask, Father God, that everything will go smoothly and that everyone will have a wonderful time. Thank you for being a good and gracious God. In Jesus' name, amen.
The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Chief Dan has a song.
Gonna be a little bit different today. Very sunny out. So we're gonna do some Foo Fighters. How about that, guys? You guys know that? No, it's gonna be Take Me Out to the Ball Game. There we go. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
I don't care if I ever get that root. They go when it's a shame. So it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's hope that works this week. We've had a tough few days. Do we have any visiting Rotarians or guests today? No visiting Rotarians or guests. Okay. Club business. Team June, thank you. Let's all give Team June a hand. Good job. We can leave the tables and chairs up today for the installation tomorrow. Tomorrow installation at, time does it start? 5:30? 5? 2 o'clock for those that want to help set up. Okay, see everybody here at 5:30. Christine's still working on the bylaws. That's coming up. So I haven't had a chance to take a look at those. Mr. Stiles.
Okay, how's everybody doing today? Good? All right, so the foot race is coming up next Tuesday, and I emailed out to everybody, all the members of the clubs, the assignments so far, and there was a number of people that were still unaccounted for, but I've gotten several responses back from that already. Let's see, Kyle Rutherford's right here. He's gonna stand up and show everybody the new foot race shirt today. There it is right there. Okay, so if you wanted to take a look at that, look at the entire back of the shirt is covered with our sponsors. So big hand for Rebecca Skildy to put all that together. Skrindy, I mean. It looks great. So, and how many runners do we have so far? 223. So we've still got the weekend to go, and usually about half the people show up the day of the race and don't pre-register. So. Right, so we're looking at 500 or so. So it's going to be a big crowd, and I appreciate all the help everybody's putting in on this. I do need a couple of people I haven't heard from. Is John Schmidt here? How about Don Olmsted? Stephanie Bachmeyer? Okay, so she's going to be doing the township and state with Mark Van, all right? How about Rick Lemley? Okay. What's that? Not here. All right. Let's see, the Storleys, Carrie, and I had Carrie on here twice. So I think that's Christine's mom and brother. Okay. Anybody heard from them at all? She said yes. All three of them? Okay, perfect. And how about Tessa Ross? Tessa, all right. Maggie Janicki? Okay, so maybe she'll respond to my email, right? Okay. Okay. All right, so that's it. Kyle, anything else we need to add? Okay. Okay, so we have the 4 water stations, the 2 at around the 1 mile mark, then 1 that's on the 3 mile mark, and 1 at the 4 mile mark. You know, yep, Teak Martin's going to be at the finish line, so that's going to be a plus. There's always a EMT van also there, and Charlie too. Okay. Yeah, the main thing for those that are out on the street corners and everything is don't let cars go on the same path as the runners. It's okay for them to cross the street as long as they don't run anybody over, but never put them on the actual race course itself. So we don't want anybody coming up Township Street or out State Street or anything like that. So people are just going to have to wait. I was told the other day, Mark Ben was telling me that my brother ended up on the roof of a car one time to try to get the person to stop. Mike Janicki, I think, threatened to beat the hell out of somebody one time. Rick Limley was always flipped off by somebody wanting to go by. They do it every year, it seems like. They know the foot race is going on at 9:30, so maybe they need to take off a little bit sooner or just wait. So, but safety for the runners is the biggest deal. So don't let any cars onto the race course itself. So, and if there is an emergency, dial 911. Don't try to call one of the officers, although there are going to be officers all over the different street corners as well. So we'll be able to get people out there. And I believe the EMT or a fire truck will be out there on Fruitdale Road at some point as well. So we got everything covered. So, all right. Show up. Anyway, look at this list that I've emailed out. I'll send out a final version probably on either Sunday or Monday, so everybody has another reminder. And who's actually going to run? Josh is going to run. Carl's going to run. Hobble. Okay. All right. Cheer them on. Take pictures too and send them to Ruth to put on our website and everything. That'd be great too. Thanks. Yeah, Rick Limley does always. Yep. Pretty much. I don't know if it's just him or whether it's the street corner. So
Maybe it's the same guy.
all right.
Thanks, Brock. Yeah, that's right. Okay, very good. Thank you, Brock. Again, an announcement, Rotary International Gathering up in Anchorage. It's August 31st to September 3rd, Environmental Focus, just to make that announcement. Like I said earlier, leave tables and chairs today. We don't need to do anything there. I don't have any other club business. Does anybody have business from the floor? Okay, okay, Carl.
A little bit of announcement, club business. So we bought a fire truck. I don't know if you know that.
Yep.
And it took about 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks to actually get delivered from California to Mexico. And I'm happy to report it's there. And the lady that helped us do this project is Catherine. I'm spacing on her last name, but Catherine, okay? And she's a friend of Paul Wagner in our club. And Paul helped quarterback this whole thing with her. And it's really remarkable. We bought a fire truck that's worth 40 grand for $2,000. Paul arranged to have it stuffed full of firefighting equipment that was no longer valid in the US, but perfectly good. And then by the time it actually got to Mexico, it looked like the Beverly Hillbillies machine because it had child seats for cars. It had all kind of donated items. And the firefighters in Mexico from about 5 different jurisdictions are going to take and deliver and put it in the hands of the needy down there. It's like the best project ever. And it cost us $2,000 to get this thing going. And it snowballed into $60,000 worth of stuff. And they're doing it again. And we have a chance to do another one. So I'm gonna share, I hope to share pictures next week of what we did. And I'll be talking with our international committee and see if we can do something to help the next load. This gal, Catherine, is a real fire plug. So it's a good thing and good for us and good. And it may be us we're saving, because if we're vacationing in Baja, Mexico, and that truck shows up to save us, well, that'd be pretty cool.
There you go. That's a great investment. Thank you, Carl. Anybody else? Any other business? Okay, we have a raffle.
We have a
then.
raffle. We have a
Go ahead,
raffle.
Ken.
We do. If I remember how to do it, I think it's this button right here. 70. Don't jump up really fast. Easy, easy, easy. All right. Got tons of time, tons of time. $5 cash.
There you go.
I'm gonna just give it to you right now, I think. Good job. All right, you should. You should. Next up. I like how that moved. 80, 68. Oh, on the top. O's on the top. 68. Jeez. You, no? All right. Wow, just money all over the place. Are we doing 3?
Whatever you wish.
Travis, what am I doing? 3. All right. It's a good holy number. Last but not least, 5-8, 58. Who is 50? Carl.
Is that it? Okay, let's go to Sergeant of Arms, Travis.
All right, we're gonna do this pretty quick today. We're gonna have some fun. It's Independence Day. There's 2 things on my mind. One, my dad's turning 82 the day after the 4th of July this year. So just wanted to, one of the questions here, it's gonna be about appreciating those in our club that share a lot of wisdom with us in years. So thank you for that. The second is about Independence Day. So here's the deal. You're all going to stand up in a second. And if you answer yes and have to sit down to either of these questions, you're going to pay $2. Okay. If you stay standing, you don't have to pay. So go ahead and stand up. Okay. First question. If you have seen fewer than 70 Independence Days, sit down and pay $2. Fewer than 70. You need to sit down and pay. Okay. So first, thank all of you for being mentors in this club. We appreciate all you have done and do. So second question. If you have seen fewer than 75 Independence Days, sit down and pay $1. All right, let's give them a round of applause. Wait, don't sit down. Don't sit down. Don't sit down because I wanted to save all your old knees. So everybody else stand back up. Okay, and here's the second question. If you have enjoyed celebrating Independence Day as a free United States citizen, but have not served in the military or as a first responder, sit down and pay $2. And let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. That's all.
That's it. Happy bucks.
Happy bucks.
I have a happy $5. As we end our Rotary year, I want to thank Phil Brockman for being a great president, leading us on a wonderful year. So let's all give him a round of applause.
Thank you, David.
And this is the best badge you'll ever have, the past president's badge. You'll enjoy it.
Thank you.
Happy bucks.
This is an announcement, Buck. I'll go ahead and take this over since Brock put these on all the tables. The Sedro High School All-Class Picnic is coming up on Saturday, July 8th. I have registration forms if anybody is planning to come and eat lunch. Cheryl is cooking. You can also go online and register. We hope to have a big crowd there, so.
Other happy bucks?
Travis, I got a happy 20. It's been a great year. I want to thank Team June, all the other teams throughout the year. We've had great programs. We have a great program ending the year with Pat coming up in a few minutes. So happy 20. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to give a couple happy bucks, happy dad bucks. First is we just found out last night that my son is going to be awarded the AETC Tech Trainer of the Year for the Air Force.
Wow.
Only one is given out across the entire Air Force per year. Pretty proud of him. Second happy buck, Second is my daughter is at the Evergreen Beauty School and I got my first facial yesterday.
I was wondering what was different.
And she did pretty great job, so. Happy bucks. I think that's it.
Okay, well, thanks, Travis. Okay, today we have our very own Pat Eason. Pat, come on up. Pat was able to go to the Rotary International Convention in Australia. He's got some things to tell us about what happened out there, maybe some words of wisdom and how we can be a better club. So let's welcome Pat Eason to the stage.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for letting me speak today. I don't know who's ever been to an international conference before or Australia before. I've never been to a Rotary conference itself, much less an international conference, so I didn't really know what to expect. So what does happen, though, is once you do register, they email you pretty regularly with updates about what social events are going to go on while you're there. They'll send you emails regarding what hotels you can stay at, because there are a number of hotels that are sponsors for the event and will give you a good rate at the international conference. And they will email you locations, since they figure a lot of folks are going to come from a long way away, other cities that you might want to stop at, things to do in those cities, other countries. There were lots of emails about things to do in New Zealand. If you were heading that direction, I know some folks who stopped over in Hawaii because it took 5 hours off the 15-hour plane flight over. And there were lots of mention of what other cities in Australia you could go to. One of those was Sydney, which is where Rochelle and I chose to go on our trip. And there is the opening ceremonies. We're kind of off kilter there. All right, so we stopped off in Sydney, and the social events or the tours that they recommended you go to was a Blue Mountain tour. That is about a 1.5 to 2 hour train ride outside of Sydney. And the public transportation is just incredible over there compared to what we have over here. So when you get there, there's lots of hiking to do. You hop on a tour bus. And then they have something called Scenic World over there, which is a unused or closed down, I think it was a coal mine. So you can go down to the mountain floor area there, do a number of hikes. And then they have, I wouldn't call them rides, we'll go back one, but to get down to the mining area, they had a train that they built up as like a roller coaster ride. So that's what I was fascinated, waiting for. But you went about 2 miles an hour down the thing. But what they do have to get back up is they have basically like a trolley car that is hooked up and you end up going just straight up. So wouldn't recommend that for the folks that are afraid of heights. And to go across the valley, they have another rail car. So you go about 1,000 feet up over the mountains below. And for those with heights, don't look down. I did, and then got a little dizzy, that kind of thing. Also, while we're in Sydney, I didn't think we were staying at too swanky of a hotel. But while we were there, the Prime Minister of India checked in on day 2. I'll keep the comments regarding security and what security expectations might be like, but that was interesting. And then one of the bucket list items for lots of folks heading to Sydney is the Sydney Bridge climb. You can see some of the facts about how tall that is there on the slide. Rochelle and I did do that. Just to give you the difference in personality types you're dealing with. The photo on the bottom over there on the far side, the instructions we got from the photographer were for her to lean into me and that I was supposed to lean out over the rail and hold my hands up. That is the best I could do with that. I had pretty much a death grip on the rails the whole time. And then on this one photo there, you do see my hands up. They would say, okay, when they're done taking the photograph. And the minute I heard the first syllable of K, boom, down we go. But she was disappointed that there was not a bungee jumping option from the top of the bridge climb there. So if you do ever go, I'd highly recommend it. Even if you're afraid of heights, my advice would be look at the back of the person in front of you while you're walking, because you're in a group of about 8 to 10, and then look out at the scenery. Don't look down. When we got to Melbourne, we got there about a day or 2 days before the conference officially started. And so while we were taking in the sights, we happened upon a Rotary Park, which is code word is we got really, really lost and wandered upon this thing going on. So we thought we would check it out. And it was a Rotary Park that was created by a local Rotary Club. And these folks here were all part of the international conference, and they were dedicating the peace pole that was on display at the conference center in Melbourne. And other information you get after you register for an international conference is, along with the hotels, what I'd recommend you do is scope out what the arrangements are going to be for the conference, because where we were, the conference center, where the shorter conferences were, the smaller conferences, the breakout sessions, that type of thing, took place in the convention center. The general sessions took place at the Rod Laver Tennis Arena, where they have the Australia Open, and those are on opposite sides of town. And so to get over there from one side to the other, you can either walk, take a bus. Don't recommend the bus, even though it's safe and everything like that, but it takes a long time. The most preferred method of travel on those things is a tram. It took about 15 minutes. So about an hour walk if you choose to walk, that type of thing. But when you choose your hotel, kind of pick and determine what kind of social events you want to do. So if there's transportation to and from, I would recommend staying in the area where you think you're going to do more of your social events, because while the public transportation is excellent, got a little crowded because the conference will be going on during a business day. So you got folks going to work at 9 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to get over there. And then you have 12,000 Rotarians trying to transverse from one side of the city to the other. So it got pretty crowded. This is a photo of Karen, who is the incoming president at the Burlington Club, and my wife, Rochelle, who's the incoming president at one of the Mount Vernon clubs, the Afternoon Club. And David Lukoff, our incoming district governor, hosted a dinner. Doesn't mean he picked up the tab for everybody, but he picked out the place, sent out the invitations, that kind of thing. But because there were about 70 people there, because it was our district and 2 adjoining districts who were invited to the dinner that day. So a great opportunity for fellowship for everybody that was there. So I think this was 2 nights before the conference, or 1 night before. We did not make the opening ceremonies that day because one of the tours that is recommended, or was recommended in Melbourne, was the Great Ocean Road Tour, a lot like Highway 101 if you're to drive along the beach there. That was about a 12-hour tour, but very much worth the time. There's kind of what one of the photos look like. My wife was a big fan of the meat pie there, as you might tell, because you included a photo there. The photo with the wind through the hair. Anybody have the GPS that talks to them and gives you updates on the weather, that kind of thing? We have ours that it will tell us, like we're driving around and we're on Highway 9. It'll tell us, well, you have what is it? Gale warning 10 miles from current location. So what we're getting all day that day was what's something called a sheep grazier's warning, whatever that was, but it was pretty windy. There were sheep out there, so the graziers apparently didn't really care about the warning, but a great tour. So I'd recommend if anybody goes to one of these conferences, go to some of the tours that they are recommending to you. The day before the official start of the conference, there is an orientation session for first-time attendees. And what they will do is they will give you directions as to how to install the app on your phone. And what you do when you get the app on the phone is you can download the schedule of events. Typically, the general sessions were held in the morning at the Rod Laver Arena, and then the breakout sessions were held in the afternoon back at the convention center. So they gave you time to transport back and forth. And then most, if not all, of the PowerPoint presentations for all the conferences that you attended are available for download after the conference is over. These are some of the sessions that Rochelle and I attended while we were there. Regarding, there's one of them that's on there that I attended that I don't, excuse me, one of them that is not on there that I attended that Rochelle was at the incoming president's meeting for, so she did not. And I can forward some of those slides to Christine and her leadership group. But basically what the title of that session was strengthening the public image of your club. And they created one of those diagrams that you have when you give people a survey as to what comes to your mind when you hear, or in this survey, the word Rotary. And they have one of those diagrams where the word that is most responded is in bold in a different color. And then there's descending levels of size of the words, that kind of thing. And what most people responded to were that they associated Rotary with men, volunteerism, elitism, humanitarian, service, and old. So that is unfortunate because that's not a picture of the club that we have here, not a picture of the clubs that, in some of those respects, that we have throughout our district and our county. And the suggestions for trying to enhance public images were to basically have on your websites, your social media and public relations engagements and speaking engagements, tell the stories of what Rotary does. For instance, our club, we could more publicize, we're sponsoring the fun run on July 4th, building a Patrick's Playground, that kind of thing. And those were suggestions as things you can do to enhance the public image of your club, because not a lot of people know what Rotary is or what it typically does. So while we did not make the first day, the second day of the general session was dedicated to discussions about polio and the Rotary's ongoing mission to eradicate or eliminate polio throughout the country. And the morning was almost entirely dedicated to doctors and medical workers who were working in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And while we quite often hear how great Rotary has done in darn near eliminating polio, what doesn't always come across is the human cost of what that has been on the front lines, so to speak. What the medical workers let the convention attenders know was that in some places in Pakistan, there was such fierce opposition to polio vaccination that they would have a difficult time conducting a vaccination day or clinic without a medical worker being assassinated, basically. And so it kind of put a lot of things into perspective. I know we all are proud of the work we do, think it's important and serves the community. But when you hear that you have people basically being killed to provide the services that Rotary sponsors, it kind of puts it in a different light and shows you the impact of what Rotary has done in those areas. And essentially what it became such a common occurrence, unfortunately for those folks, they basically take an hour break, make arrangements to deal with anybody that was injured or for the deceased, and they would get back at it because they weren't going to let what was going on stop what the mission was to eradicate polio in those sessions of the world. So there's the first timer session I was mentioning, and that they explained how the app works. Top registration for the Australia conference for attendees was United States, Australia, Japan, Philippines, and Taiwan. One of the other events that was sponsored by Rotary was the sailing challenge, which was a great time. You caught the boat about 6 o'clock and 2 boats sailed out into the bay there. Lots of other photos. And then the picture down below with the gentleman with the gray hair told you about the history of the boats. He was kind of entertaining because he showed up with a few on board. And it got, and he didn't stop at that point. So the stories got a little more and more entertaining, if you know what I mean, as the night wore on. This is what the trams look like back and forth, and what you can't tell from the photos, that's on the way to one of the one of the sessions at the Rod Laver Center, is that I can't quite reach one of the handrails, and the folks around me weren't really supporting their own weight, but just were kind of counting on the mass of the collective folks to keep them up. And so that's the fun you have back and forth. So that led to that afternoon, we decided to walk back with David Lukoff and some other local Rotarians. Lots of entertainment on the third day, or the closing ceremonies. They had a Bee Gees group there on the top left, a couple other singers told the opening ceremonies, and then I went to the closing ceremonies, and day 2, of course, were highlighted by lots of entertainment. This is the Sylvia Whitlock Award that was awarded. Sylvia Whitlock was the first female Rotary Club president. And the ceremonies closed by Mr. McAnally's speech, and stressing the themes for the upcoming Rotary year, which include hope, work on mental health, and increasing the peace throughout the world. Another session that I went to, and Rochelle went to as well, talked about addressing why Rotary members leave and how to keep the Rotary members from leaving. And what they taught us in that class was that why Rotary members leave. They're not satisfied with the club environment and culture. They have unmet expectations and financial and time commitments. And so and I'm distilling this quite a bit because that session was about an hour and a half. What they recommend in driving overall satisfaction for your Rotary members is enhancing opportunities for club members to be comfortable with one another, enhance the club's positive impact in the community, make sure that there is confidence in club leadership, and make the social clubs or the club meetings enjoyable. And which, as a fairly new Rotarian, I joined in spring of 2021. I want to thank all of you for providing those things to me. I've always loved coming to the Rotary meetings and feel very welcome and appreciated by the other members of the club. All right, and next year, the international conference is in Singapore. We're currently negotiating at my house as to whether or not we will be attending the session in Singapore. My brother-in-law was not helpful because he does a lot of work over there and was just talking it up. So I think we may end up going, but we'll see. The only downside with this year was that our youngest is 12, and so we missed a couple of school events while they were wrapping up. That was the only downside, but I would highly recommend that if you have an opportunity to go to one of these, whether it's Singapore next year or the year after that, it is in Calgary. That's basically all I had prepared, and I'll work with Christine regarding making available any of the PowerPoint presentations that she wants to use for club business, and especially the ones that I attended that deal with overall member satisfaction and making sure we retain our members. But if there are any questions, be happy to answer. Carl, go ahead. I'm not certain. Do you know what day it is? Okay. Yeah, my suspicion is it'll depend on what is going on with the two kids we have at home. My guess in what schedule is like, but good chance at least one of the two of us would go. Anybody else? Artie, well, thank you for letting me speak.
Singapore, Calgary, Singapore. Pat, thank you very much. Here's a parting gift from the greatest Rotary Club in the universe, so you can sign those documents as the commissioner. So we appreciate it. One more hand for Pat, please. Is there any other business from the floor? Okay, tomorrow night installation, July 3rd, we start the preparation for the run. July 4th is the run, the parade, and everything else. And with that, I will close the meeting to the best and greatest Rotary Club in the universe.